On show 417, Kia and Amazon hold hands, big EV sales in China, and we get more details on the Porsche Taycan. Well, good morning, good afternoon and good evening, in fact, wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. It's your weekend edition, Saturday 16th of March. My name is Martyn Lee and I've been through every EV story I can find so far today. Obviously, lots of stuff after the Tesla Model Y reveal yesterday. I've picked out the stories that I think you need to know about to fill in your weekend. As always, thank you to the team at myev.com. They are super busy building the world's first marketplace all about EVs. myev.com. Dead easy to remember that as well, and you can learn about things along the way too. A couple of things that are just to sort of tidy up really after the Model Y reveal yesterday. Production of the Model Y is beginning late 2020. I got my years mixed up, and on yesterday's podcast I as sort of brushed it aside and said production later this year. I don't know why I suddenly thought we were in 2020. I've lost a year of my life, but of course we're 18 months away from production, so the end of next year. Hands up, who won't be surprised if it's the beginning of 2021 when production starts? But you know how these things work. Tesla released a lot of details about the Model Y, and they made it available in the design studio, says Mark Kane at InsideEVs.com. Bring us this story today. The three long-range versions are going to cost from between $47,000 and $60,000. That excludes your delivery and handling, depending on the powertrain option. So what are your options? Well, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or performance all-wheel drive. The standard battery version, priced at $39,000, will be available, but not at the beginning. They say spring 2021 at the earliest, and again, I wouldn't be surprised if that timescale slips just slightly. It is 2 years exactly from now, maybe 2.5 years, the base model will be on sale. Who knows, they might surprise us. Overseas markets like here in Europe and China are going to get the Model Y 6 to 12 months later than the US. And that's not bad, actually, because we had to wait well over a year to get the car here in Europe, and we still don't have right-hand drive models. Although, as I was walking out to the bottom of the garden to the studio to record, I did see Elon had tweet. I have Elon's tweets on alert, and I did see him reply to somebody, and he said June at the earliest for right-hand drive model, but at the latest end of summer. So there we go. As far as I know, Elon himself personally has been really quiet on right-hand drive models, versions of the Model 3. About a year ago he last, I think, publicly commented on this. So it's brilliant to have him on Twitter say right-hand drive June, but at the latest end of summer. We've waited a long time. We'll wait a little bit longer. Oh, I know, I should always say, by the way, I'm not a reservation holder for the Model 3. Christopher Smith at Inside EVs points out that a fully equipped Model Y that we heard about a couple of days ago is going to set you back $74,500. He's spec'd it to the max. However, if you do go $74,500 for that, you get the Performance Edition, you get red multi-coat, because that adds $2,500. You get the 7-seater option, that adds $3,000, and it won't be available until 2021. Two-tone black and white interior trim adds another $1,000, and you can't have a Tesla without autopilot. So for the Model Y, autopilot with full self-driving adds $7,000 to the base price. It's not common for automakers to go live with the vehicle configurators a year and a half ahead of when you can actually get the car. Tesla isn't exactly a normal automaker, though, given the unquenchable thirst that buyers have for crossovers, for SUVs. The Model Y is going to be a big vehicle in the EV world, regardless who would be making it. And of course, as it's Tesla making it, it's going to be super popular. Here's an interesting thing that I noticed, but I didn't kind of make an overt comment to yesterday, which a few people tweeted me about to say that they were surprised I didn't make reference to it on the podcast yesterday. Of course, when the Model 3 was launched, they opened reservations. You could put your $1,000 down and become a reservation holder for the Model 3. And hundreds of thousands of people did. With the Model Y, they knew what they were getting into with this, so it's really clever what Tesla did when they announced the Model Y. And a lot of the headlines said, oh, you can order one now. Yeah, the design studio is open now. And why that's clever, by putting it open to actually order the car, to order a car a year and a half ahead of when it actually goes on sale. The genius of that is they now have an enormous amount of huge data that they can crunch on which are the popular models that people aren't just reserving, people are ordering them. The configurator's open. And so they will have already by now an enormous data set on what the popular configurations are, the price points, and probably even start to work out some rough margins in there as well. And so, I've no doubt, by the way, in the next 18 months, before the car goes on sale, that option list will change. I think that's a dead cert. They are going to have to get hold of some people who have ordered the car and gone, hey, we're not going to do this, but we are doing this. Or the price has changed from this to this. I mean, that's 18 months away. That's definitely going to happen. I'll put a link to Inside EVs, both of those stories in the show notes if you want to find out more. I mentioned this at the top of the show. Kia and Amazon are holding hands. I mean, actually, Kia and Amazon are on the back row of the cinema getting frisky. They have joined up in a big way. Autoblog has the lowdown on this one. Amazon wants to be the one and only destination for you to go online shopping, and it's edging further into the car world with a new partnership. They've got in bed, all right, I'll go the whole hog. They've got in bed with Kia, and they're teaming up with their online retail systems. So Amazon will provide the retail for Kia to sell and install the chargers that you have at your house. These are the level 2 chargers, so nice and quick as well. To buy the chargers on offer, you have to either own or lease an electric car from Kia, or have one on order, by the way, or have one ordered. That includes, the Niro EV/e-Niro, the Soul EV, which is coming soon with the new one, 64 kilowatt hour battery, lovely. Or the plugins, so the hybrids, the Niro and the Optima plugins. The benefit to this way of having a charger put into your house is that Amazon is something that people are very comfortable with already. They trust it. They will do the whole installation process. They do the electrician. They'll probably just find I imagine a local contractor who'll be on their books. So Amazon get the electrician in, they inspect the house, they install the charger. The choice of chargers is being sold through Amazon, and you can have Bosch or ChargePoint or Juicebox, and at different price points. And of course, people are very comfortable with online retail from Amazon, and they will be your single touch point. So you won't be buying a charger from here and calling the local electrician from there. It's really smart, and I'm not surprised that more and more big companies, big retail online names are getting into EVs. And obviously not in a massive way, but they're feeling their way because they know this is going to be a big market. Talking of big markets, the biggest of all, that would be China. For the first 2 months of 2019, China's new energy vehicle market, if you're new to the podcast, that's what the Chinese call them. They call them NEVs, N-E-Vs, new energy vehicles. We call them EVs, or electric cars. The volume is just off the scale so far this year. 132% increase year on year. Almost 150,000 sold in the first 2 months, among which the February sales had a huge year-on-year growth as well, 74%, according to data released by the China Passenger Car Association, and that's according to Gasgoo, writing for InsideEVs.com today. If you look at year-to-date, BYD are at the top of the charts. They got 3 places of the top 5 models. These names might mean nothing to you, by the way, if you're not familiar, and most people aren't with the Chinese market. The BYD 1 EV, the E5, the Tang, and the other big maker is called BAIC. The BAIC EU series had big growth as well, so in the top 10. Again, these names might not mean too much to you, but they're selling in enormous numbers. Another car that is going to be huge in China this year is the BYD EV360. Again, it's a name which might mean nothing to you. Like, what is this car? It's all electric, so it's a full BEV. It's an SUV. It's released now. It's on sale. And it's an all-new version to hit the Chinese market. So what kind of specs are these Chinese cars coming with? Well, permanent magnet synchronous motor. It's got 70 kilowatts of power. It's got a 43 kilowatt hour battery, lithium-ion battery pack, and pretty good energy density as well. Combined range of 305 kilometers. They do use the old NEDC, really old way of measuring mileage. So, pull that down a little bit, but that's super interesting, actually. The spec's very reasonable for a very affordable car. A car that isn't so affordable, but is very desirable, is the Porsche Taycan. And the colourful new batch of teaser images hit the internet today to provide a new look at the Porsche Taycan. The company discloses some more details about the electric car, says Motor1.com today. The Porsche 911 model line boss. His name is August Achleitner, and he provides his view on the Taycan project. He says this, and I quote, "What characterises a purebred Porsche is the fact it always actively involves the driver. And this philosophy is contained in the Taycan, just as much as in the 911. The adjustment period from the 911 to an EV takes a few minutes, if even that. The Taycan will offer over 600 horsepower and do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds. A full charge is 310 miles of range." End quote. That's interesting. So they're saying that the adjustment period for those Porsche drivers from a 911 to the all-electric version, he says a few minutes and you'll be off and away. Talking of that, by the way, after seeing prototypes and getting confirmation now of production of the new version of the Taycan, the Cross Turismo, we now have a window for when the wagon version, with the bigger boot and the fold-down seats to put your skis in, will be on the market. Porsche CEO Oliver Blume, in a recent press event, said that the car is now called the Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo, and it's set to follow the Porsche Taycan at the end of next year, 2020. I'm getting my years sorted out, you see. According to Autoblog, when the Taycan Cross Turismo goes on sale, it'll look very similar to the concept car, which at that time was called the Mission E Cross Turismo. That's the car that inspired it. Now, there's spy photos online. I've seen them on Motor1.com. The test mules are flying around, and they do look very similar to the concept. And that, if you ask me, is a very, very good thing. Talking of spy shots, we hear from Anthony Carr at Motor1.com. After taking a look at Motor1's homepage this morning, you could assume the death of fossil cars is right around the corner. Not entirely true, but it's more than obvious that every automaker is embracing EVs. In the last 6 to 12 months, it's just flying now. And the latest to show progress is Renault, with their new second-generation Zoe. Very important car here in Europe. Small city car. It'll fit 5 people, maybe not comfortably, but it's a small city car. At the moment, has a 41 kilowatt hour battery. That's changing though, and it's only charged on AC up to now as well. It's the most popular car in the last few months in Europe. I know, in 2018, the Leaf took the year, but the Zoe took the second half of the year, and it's still selling really well. Like I say, France is number one. Huge car. Again, they're very proud of being a domestic maker. The new Renault Zoe has a bigger battery pack, but no one quite knows how big. Now, Motor1 say they've heard the rumours is 50 kilowatt hours. I read an article last week that claimed 60 kilowatt hours. Now, a 60 kilowatt hour battery in a small city car, I mean, you'd go for days. Maybe not. The range is going to be 250 miles. That's 400 kilometres. And if you also believe the stories, and I think this is pretty much a confirmed rumour, if such a thing. That's a thing. It's going to have 2 ways of charging. So, one of the French engineers, I think an engineer, he leads the project, who I follow him on Twitter, and he tweets in English, and he has said that the Zoe has such an installed user base of people who love charging on AC that it's going to have 22 kilowatt AC charging, which is mega quick, but it's also, unlike the car it replaces, going to have very fast charging on CCS combo plug, just as the Model 3 has here in Europe. Very important car in Europe. I wish it went to more places. Finally, Vauxhall, again, a very famous name here in the UK. Maybe you'll know it as Opel. They are considering a hot Corsa, again a Corsa, very small city car if you're not familiar with it, and they are considering it to be a rival to the next 208 GTI. Expected to follow the reveal of the all-electric Corsa. That's coming the start of next year. We know that's going to be electrified, and a full electric Corsa is coming. We're like just over 6 months away. Vauxhall's also voiced interest in making performance EVs, and this I picked up in the performance magazine Evo. Well, when speaking about plans for the future, the CEO expressed interest in the performance and fun that electric allows. Speaking with their sister magazine Auto Express, the Vauxhall and Opel CEO, Michael Loscheller, said this, and I quote, "Most people think electrification is for green reasons, for CO2. It's not only that, it's also fun. I think that what we're thinking of and how we might bring that to more people, we're thinking about how we can bring electrification to a new level in terms of sportiness. The emotional aspect of electrification is important. It's not years away, end quote. So that's great, that's fantastic. We know that more and more people are electrifying, and the more that electric cars outdo fossil cars, which they already do, the better. It'll turn heads of petrol heads. It's inevitable. We know everything's going electric. The sooner the better. Let's get on to our question of the week this week. Thank you very much if you've answered this so far, and if not, you've got a day to get your answer in. Thanks to myev.com for setting our question of the week. It's been really popular. What slogan, motto or catchphrase would you print on a t-shirt to say something about electric cars? There are 201 patrons of the podcast, and you keep me going. Thank you very much. Got a new patron to thank tomorrow, actually, on the show. And if you want to, there are 416 previous shows online to download for free. In the meantime, you can subscribe to new ones, and you can be part of the gang, part of the family, if you get the new ones every day. First and free and automatically, if you can leave a little review, it does so much for the algorithm, the recommendation engine that works in iTunes. The more you review the show, and I give it 1 star, 5 stars, say whatever you want, but the more reviews it gets, the more it gets picked up by those podcast platforms and recommended to other people. And that means we can spread the word about clean transport to more people. If you want to say hi on Facebook, LinkedIn or Twitter, just search EV News Daily. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. I'll catch you for Sunday's edition tomorrow. And always remember, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.